Welcome to LabMinutes.com and a lab video series on Cisco DNAC 2.1. This is Meta, your instructor for this video series. For a complete list of DNAC and SDA videos, you can visit our website under the Routing Switching section. There you can also sign up for our newsletters to receive the latest video updates. In the last video, we gave you an overview of our lab setup and added devices that are remote sites to DNAC inventory. In this video, we are going to dive into Sda Multi-Site configuration. Before we start, let's do a quick refresher on our lab topology. On the left-hand side, we have the headquarters site that hosts our server subnet with our shared services. Over here on VLAN 32, we have our DNAC server at the IP of 172.16.32.111. Windows 2019 domain controller, DNS server at the IP of .40, our ICE server at 102, and the File Power Management Center at the IP of .107. All of these are connected to our core switch, switch 1, that's also provide access to the internet to these servers. At the HQ, we have a SDA fabric that is consisted of the border control router, maybe just BC1 over here, and one edge switch E2 with the test machine Win10 test 3. The HQ is being connected to the two remote sites that we have, the BR1 and BR2 via an intermediate switch over here that in turn connects to a WAN router. All of these underlays are running ISIS for underlay reachability. At BR1 we have the switch that we're going to be using to run pretty much all of the fabric functions, the border, the control plane, and the edge, called BR1 BCE1, that has a test machine Win10 test 1 connected off of port 14, and the subnet for our BR1 site is going to be in the range of 172.17/16. So that's our first remote site, and then the second remote site we have is the BR2. In this case, we have a separated control border device from the edge device. We have a device called BR2 BC1 over here, which is a router, and then the BR2 E1, and that is our edge switch. Same deal, connected to that port 14. We have the second, or another, actually, this is the third overall Win10 test machine, which is our Win10 test 2. And the subnet for the BR2 site is going to be in the range of 172.18/16. So our goal is to bring up the SDA fabric for both of our sites, the BR1 and BR2, with pretty much the same VNs, right, as our headquarters that's already been set up, fully operational with SDA. Right, we're going to do the same thing at the remote site. But first, let's talk a little bit about Sda Multi-Site. When Cisco SDA first came out, the deployment was strictly meant for a single site or single campus location. And back then, it was unclear how the SDA fabric would be extended across a WAN in case you have the remote sites. It wasn't until, I believe, DNAC 125 that the concept of multi-site was introduced. The first use of the multi-site is to deploy SDA fabric in a geographically dispersed location while they can share network parameters, have the same list of virtual networks, and interconnected in such a way that they can seamlessly communicate with end-to-end segmentation. So that's the first use of multi-site, which is, I would say, for maybe 80-90% of the time, is to connect your WAN site together. Now, the second use of multi-site, while it is not as obvious, is to increase scalability of an SDA deployment. While you can use the biggest hardware you can find for your fabric components to maximize your scalability, there will always be a limit to that scalability on whether it's number of devices, the routes, and the endpoints that are supported. And the only way to exceed those numbers is to break up your site or your fabric into multiple fabric sites.